Boys and girls, this is today's video summary. Today is December 14th. Can't believe it. We're already gonna hit the winter break, so time does fly by. Well, let me show you. The first thing we did was, of course, we wrote, today is Monday, so we wrote our spelling words, 3.4 spelling words. They're also on page 191 on My View 4.1. So make sure you write them down. Okay, so we're spelling words with prefixes. So make sure you take note of those prefixes. There's 3 that we're working with this week. It's the Miss, N, E-N, and M-E-M. Okay, and so, like I said, we can find them on page 191. And this would be basically your homework. You're categorizing the spelling words and placing them under the prefix that it goes with, right? So, for example, misspell, misbehave, and so on with the E-Ns and then the E-Ms, and then you're just highlighting with your crayon or your highlighter, highlighting the prefixes. So this is on page 191 in My View 4.1. We also wrote down some notes. We're working with commas for grammar this week. So this is just some a few bullets on when we should use commas. We watched a video today that's on the Google Classroom. Super important, guys, to use commas. So we use it, of course, in a series, in a list, in front of conjunctions, which is our fan voice, so before conjunctions, between a city and a state, between the day and the year, after the greeting and closing in a letter, to name a person spoken to, and before and after a quotation in a sentence. Okay, so we also cut and paste our anchor chart. That's on page 155, My View 4.1. Okay, this is before our story this week, so make sure you cut it out. Chrono, remember, chrono means time. Logical, of course, it's just time order, guys. That's time order. It tells events in order in which they happen. We're looking at another biography, so that's why it's important to know chronological order. So it can be used in fiction and autobiographies and biographies and informational texts. And some of the key words, some transitional words that are found in these texts are first, next, then, later, eventually, finally, in the beginning, after some time, and in a while. You'll be able to see that in your book this week. So we did that. And your story this week is going to be found on page 157. Barbed Wire Baseball is the title. We did do our picture walk today. We didn't get to start reading it, but we will do it tomorrow. So Barbed Wire Baseball by Marissa Moss. Okay. So make sure you take note of everything you see before you even start reading. You need to take note of everything you see in the illustrations, okay? Super important to take note of all the details that we see. And that way we can already start to understand a picture is worth 1,000 words. So we're already understanding something even before we read the text, just by looking at the illustrations, okay? So there are several illustrations here. Of course, we always see this man and baseball, And we see some camps that are set up. We see this tower repeatedly. So we're trying to connect all of that today. Okay. So you just keep on going. Make sure you do your annotations for our illustrations. And of course it ends on page 181. So it started on page 157, ends on 181. It's a long text, so hopefully we get to do as much as we can tomorrow. Okay, after that we did do some notes for math. Okay, so we're adding and subtracting decimals. Most of the students today did say that it was pretty easy on what we're doing this week with math, so I hope that's true. But these are the notes that we wrote down. So when you add or subtract numbers with decimals, the decimals must be lined up. And of course, this is an example. Make sure we always move down the decimal, and if there's nothing there, if there's a blank space, always add zeros, of course, to the right of numbers. And when you subtract decimals, do not let the decimal scare you. You are still able to go next door and borrow 10 more, okay? So make sure you do that. And this is just a little practice that we did. I took out a receipt and we were adding up the items that I bought, and we got the total to $25.70. Okay, that was for math, and our math homework is on page 86. I believe it's Basic Facts 13. Page 80. Students to just bring the price of an item that you want tomorrow, and we'll work with those numbers so we can add them up or subtract like that. Okay, so that was for homework. And then in our science fusion, we are going over natural resources. This is on page 291. Excuse me. And we read 292 all the way to 294. We were able to see the difference between non-renewable and renewable resources. That was for science. And then social studies in our My World, excuse me. We started reading the first lesson in this new chapter, The Rise of the Lone Star State. So we already talked about how Texas was under the Mexican government. It was a part of Mexico, then it became its own republic, and now we're learning about how it was annexed by the United States and became officially the 28th state of the U.S. Okay, so we did read 218 to 220 today. And of course we did a few annotations on the text. And that was it for today, boys and girls. I will see you tomorrow.